This is a trade recap for Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Number 10 of 10 for phase 2 of One and Done. So I'll be doing a kind of a recap or a review of the progress there. I'm trying to think. Pretty normal-ish day in the market, kind of more of the same, kind of wider levels, wider risk, and things we needed to watch out for, and things that Pat were advising us on when it came to just trading today. So pretty typical stuff, especially for how we've been trading for the past couple weeks. But all in all, good day, good way to finish out the program, and yeah, solid stuff. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do that, just a quick word on coaching. If you're a new or struggling day trader and you are looking for a coach, and in fact, if you're not looking for a coach, I'd highly recommend you consider getting one. The survival rate of most traders that try and do this solo is pretty damn low. Like 99% probably fail. It's a very rare creature that can figure this out solo, so just take that into consideration. But if you're looking for a coach, the coach I use is Pat Mitchell. He runs a trading education service called Trick Trades. You can find it at tricktrades.com. Go ahead and pull that up for you right now. He has been doing this for over a decade, and he knows exactly what he's doing. His day-to-day consistency over the past years is astonishing. And it's one of those things, like, he really has it figured out. He has a very, very refined strategy. And again, he builds up traders in a, again, very methodical process. He gives lessons every single day live on screen share while we're trading or while the live session is going on. So if you're looking for that high quality coach and mentor who knows exactly what they're doing, Pat Mitchell is the person you want to be learning from. So if you're interested, like I said, head over to tricktrades.com and look into the service. He also has a YouTube channel at Trick Trades. If you kind of want to get a taste of the information he puts out there, you can go there and review some of the videos. He has trade recaps, lessons, things like that almost every day. You can get, again, a taste for the information. There's a lot of it on there. There's over 1,700 videos. Like I said, he's been doing this for over a decade, and you will, again, there's a lot of information to really sift through and put together. Another reason to really get a mentor and coach instead of trying to digest that level of content. If you want to, go for it. Good luck to you. But again, you can cut to the chase, save yourself a ton of time, money, and effort by simply learning from him directly on a daily basis. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and get into the charts and this morning's session. So go ahead and get the recording up. Let's see here. Pardon one moment. Let me get that figured out. Let's see here. Bring us a little bit closer to the open. About 10 seconds. Okay, lay the land here. If you're new, we only trade SPY and Qs. SPY is here on the top, Qs here on the bottom. These charts here on the left are our daily charts. Oops. And then our charts here in the middle are the 1-minute intraday charts. I keep my order execution here on the right, and this is just how I personally have my setup. Like, obviously, again, people are generally going to do theirs a little bit differently, but for the most part, it is similar to this. These blue levels you see here are the levels that Pat picks. And again, as a coach and mentor, he guides us through each one of these trades, each one of these levels every single morning. Now, he starts the night before a trade session after the markets have closed and kind of seeing what futures are done. And then we'll maybe plot a level or two based upon what's going on there. And then he'll refine them the morning of to see what's really in play, what's valid, and develop a trade plan for us to follow. Then once these are set, they do not change at all. They're static. These risk levels are something I personally put on there. It's just a again, personal preference. He does not. That's kind of how that all works. And then it's just one of those things where we just let things open up, execute off the levels as they trigger in an appropriate way. So from yesterday, we gapped up. We were between these two levels on Qs, as you can see here. And then same with SPY, gapped up between these two levels here on SPY. SPY had a bit more range than Qs. The risk was also a bit wider on SPY, and Pat was pointing all this out in the pre-market plan. So Qs was our main watch, and then we were just going to wait to see which levels we tested and triggered off of. And it plays about 5 seconds before the open. And again, just like with typical, I mean, prior to the past, I would say couple weeks, these levels would actually pop off or trigger fairly quickly. Past couple weeks, though, again, it's one of those things we've had to consistently demonstrate patience, which is not a bad thing. The more patient and more disciplined you can be, the better. It's one of the oddest things. And Pat was kind of pointing this how I think it was it yesterday or the day before that the thing you need to do in terms of like being patient and kind of just sitting still and watching generally tends to be for day traders the most difficult thing to do, because constantly, again, especially when they don't have their emotions and discipline check, is they always want to be in a trade, so they're always trying to find some way to get involved, which is wrong. So you can see, actually, maybe this wasn't quite. Oh, this is about 5 minutes before the open. It's like wondering what was going on there. Let's bump that forward a little bit. Try this again. Here we go. Now we're into the open. So we open, take that first pop. Watching Qs is the primary one to take a trade off of because the risk is better. You kind of see like where do we trigger into. SPY's kind of running up. Really want SPY into the level. That bold blue level I'd marked out pre-market highs. That way I could kind of keep track of that. But where we were risking off of, we really had to wait for the upper level or get close to the upper level before you can really start in, because the risk is just going to be too wide if you start early, especially at pre-market high. So you can see it kind of SPY popping up, but didn't quite get there. Qs didn't really pop past that little pre-market range. So again, just wait, step forward a little bit, see what happens. Start coming back down. So now we wonder whether we're going to get the long. Starts bouncing off that opening price. SPY is still holding up, but then kind of starts trying to decide what it wants to do. Moving into that level where it could potentially get started. So I'm going to basically get zoomed in. So Q still has a bit to run up that level. So I was kind of waiting to see what Qs would run at that level to put us at a better position for SPY. Kind of just waiting. Starts reacting at that first little initial reaction. Qs kind of came up a little bit further, which was close enough where I was risking to get started. And then small starter, and then kind of waiting just to see, can we, again, come up a little bit more to build into the position or not. And on this one, as kind of those things where we do not get that opportunity to necessarily do so. So let's kind of step forward. And then as you can see, it reacts. Then on that reaction, pay it. And then again, as you can see, just again, nice solid back into that pre-market range. I mean, that was a very solid trade just right there in and of itself. Kind of comes back up. And it's just one of those things where it's like, yep. And that's kind of that. Again, there was an opportunity to maybe add there. It depends on how much profit you banked. But again, it's kind of how that unfolded this morning. So jump over to the chart itself. Yeah, pretty straightforward. I mean, honestly, like I said, kind of opened, popped. Q's basically went sideways-ish and kind of traded in this little range before breaking out and pushing up along with SPY. SPY held higher. And as you can see, as it pushed up into this level, this is where, again, executed, got that first reaction and a bit of follow through, and that's more than enough back down into this pre-market range. Yeah, so green trade there, I think it was $19 per contract on that one. Then it popped back up. Now, if you banked more profit, had more kind of leeway, you could potentially take an ad right here, risking off of these highs and a little bit into this level to see if you can get more follow through, which it ultimately did, came all the way down to this level and even further. So it's one of those things where, again, pretty clean price action, not really much to, again, tear apart. Okay with my entry because it was on this one where that pop I was trying to grab that got closer than I have, say, in the past couple of days. And then paid myself on that first reaction down, which is exactly what we're supposed to do. So all in all, pretty good there. Could I have added potentially there? Yeah, but I didn't bank necessarily enough profit to risk off of that movement. It would have taken all of it. And the last thing you want to do is go from being, having a green day to a red day. That's kind of a cardinal sin in trading. So just take it, call it a day, and tomorrow's the next one. Emotion-wise, yeah, no real issues. Emotions were all in check. Discipline traded to the plan. Had no issues there. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Try to think again, just continuing to refine entries, exits. Again, just a very, very minor tweaking to try and get better price points, better average in the position and things like that, because that's an area that's probably going to take some time for improvement from the size perspective. Not really hitting any emotional cues or indications that emotions or discipline are an issue here. Trying to think what else. Get more into that and then do the phase 2 recap that I'll probably put out today as well. But all in all, the process works. Granted, this was only 10 sessions versus 30 from phase 1. But good stuff. Good stuff. And not a whole lot is going to change in between phase 2 and phase 3. But all in all, like I said, it was a good segment. Identified something that needs to be worked on. And like I said, that's that really refining entries specifically. So, yeah, good day for us in the morning trading session. Hopefully it was for everyone else, and everyone else is having, a good day so far. And we'll catch you for the next one. And like I said, I'll probably do a phase 2 recap here today and get that uploaded as well. So you see a couple videos from me, but good stuff. That's all I got for this one, and we'll catch you guys later for the phase 2 recap, as well as tomorrow for the next one in the beginning of phase 3. Have a great one, and we will catch you then.